Hi, this is Mariah Gullo from The Hollywood Reporter, and I'm here with Alan Tudyk, and this is Meet Your Emmy Nominees.
Hey! I'm Alan Tudyk. Nice to meet you.
Alan, you're nominated for Outstanding Actor in a Short-Form Comedy or Drama Series for Con Man.
Yeah. Wow. That's so cool.
How does it feel to be nominated?
Feels really good. I mean, I just found out just a couple of days ago, and so...
How did you find out?
I got a call early in the morning from my producing partner and close friend, PJ Harsma, and he called at an hour that he usually does not call at. And so I said, what? That was my answer. What? And he said, congratulations. I was like, on what? What, you really have to, why are you calling now? And then he told me. And I really didn't, it took a while, like the day before I started to accept that it was actually a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Did you have any interesting or surprising reactions from people?
A lot of people talked, a lot of people reach out in that moment to say congratulations.
Anybody looking for a job immediately?
That might have been the impetus behind some of those. Hey, buddy, we haven't talked in a while.
Let's do something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you do anything to celebrate?
I think I had nachos.
Oh,
it's pretty much a celebratory food in my household. Let's go get some nachos. It's terrible for you. They make you feel bad, but ultimately it's good.
Is there anybody else who've been nominated that you're excited about?
Yes, of course. Mindy Sterling, who's in Con Man.
Yes.
And most of our scenes are always together, and she's very funny, and I got to cast her in it, and so I think I was happier about her in the beginning, and then after I just overtook her with my own selfishness. But in the beginning, I was like, that's the one. Because she's, I don't know, I've just known her and things for so long.
Now, she's actually competing against herself because she was nominated for another show as well. So
yeah, I've heard that she's her own worst enemy. So it makes sense that she would compete against herself. But that says a lot, right? That she's nominated in two different things.
Absolutely. So what are you most looking forward to at the Emmys?
Oh, I don't know. I guess seeing people. That's usually the neat thing about those things. You get to meet people. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who do you want to see?
Gosh, I don't know. Just the people who are nominated in my category.
Yeah.
Ty Burrell is very, very cool. He and I were married on a ill-fated pilot once. Mm-hmm. He was my husband. So it'd be nice to see him again. I don't know. I never know who to expect at those things. It's always like, oh my gosh, look over there who it is.
Yeah. Who would you want to be seated next to? I mean, besides your significant other, but is there anybody who you'd be excited to be seated next to?
Oh my gosh, so in the Emmy category, I don't know. Anybody from the Game of Thrones would be cool. Anybody from Preacher, because I love that show. Preacher is fantastic. Gosh, I don't know. Anybody who doesn't, smell or want to talk a lot. You don't want to get somebody who just wants to talk too much.
Right. So maybe not Seth Rogen then.
Seth Rogen! I'd love to sit next to Seth Rogen. I was in Knocked Up with him so very long ago. Our careers anyway. We haven't kept in touch, so it'll be nice to.
There you go.
We've got a lot to catch up on.
Yeah, so maybe that's you could get knockout Preacher and catching up at the same time. Oh my
gosh, I'll do it. I'm in.
So let's talk a little bit about Con Man Season 2, which you were nominated for. When did you have the idea to do this and why?
Well, I was on a TV show called Firefly back in 2002. It came on Fox, and it was short-lived, Joss Whedon show. It lasted 14 episodes, which actually wasn't the whole. A lot of people say you only got one season, but actually that was back then. That was only half a season, and for a lot of network shows. So I flew a spaceship. It was pretty great. Nathan Fillion was the captain, and there was a huge a huge fan outpouring when we got canceled, and then it became this huge thing after, like, every year there were more and more fans. So I went to a lot of cons, a lot of conventions, Comic-Cons and things like that. And it was an extraordinary world that I had never seen before, and I thought that it should be a show. And it would be great to expose, a lot of people think the fans are the crazy thing at those conventions because they dress up and stuff like that. But it's the people who work for the conventions and the actors and things that you can't imagine. That there was one guy who they take photos, this bizarre way they take portraits of you and fans, and it's you're like, hi, how's it going? It was really nice to meet you. Hey, how are you? Great costume. Nice to meet you. It's this crazy thing that happens. And there was a guy who was doing the pictures, the first con I ever went to, and like we were halfway through, and he goes, all right, we've got to stop. It's my finger. And he had a bucket of ice that he put his finger in. It's like maybe 10 or 15 minutes and some Prosecco. And it's like, what are we? This is really. You could just use you could hit the thing like that, or get a pedal or something to click the photo. Use the other finger. Anyway, it was starting to get exposed to people like that that wanted to write a show and put those types of people in and turn the spotlight on them.
Yeah, and you have some very colorful characters. Yeah. Now, all of the different types of actors that you have a motion capture guy, people at the height of their careers, people who are struggling. You've got Ray Nearly, who's you.
Right.
Are all of these stories of, like, kind of all of the things that happen to them, are they all based in truth?
There's a lot of them that have some truth to them, or I saw them taking place and then wrote. That is like a jumping off point. There's one with Tricia Helfer from Battlestar Galactica. She's on Lucifer right now, where she has. I went to a convention actually in Florida, and one half of the convention was our sci-fi convention, and then another part of the hotel was a doll convention. And these women, and I was in the lobby, and there were all these women who were in their 50s and 60s with babies. And they were talking to each other and had strollers, and then I realized that they were dolls. And then I went to my sci-fi half, and everybody had there was a lot of action figures. I was like, well, what's the difference? Which I've been told by authorities that there's a huge difference. What's wrong with you? And so we did that. But it's Tricia Helfer who has a doll, and my character falls in love with her, and I get my action figure, which has it's got a malfunction. And so, so writing that kind of thing.
Out of all of the episodes, I would not have thought that episode was based in truth.
Right. So many of them. And it's an interesting needle to thread, because there's a good example. Like I meet a lot of fans who love Firefly or Star Wars or whatever. It could be anything. It could be any movie or project you've been involved in, that they will say, but it's usually Firefly, they'll say, I was in Afghanistan, and we had the DVD box set of Firefly, and we watched it all the time, and it really brought us together, and it meant so much to us, and I just want to thank you. And it's like this, it's so moving, and I have goosebumps. And so in Con Man, wanting to give service to that real thing that happens, but also make it funny, there's a character that comes up, and he says, "Your Joe," he's dressed like a tooth fairy. "Your Joe helped me forget what happened to my village. I burned it down." You get the sense that he burned it down, and not apologetic. So it's pulling things that were real and it's kind of mixing them around and making them funny.
Right. I've heard that you used a lot of the extras on the show were people who were crowdfunding for the show. Do you see the same people over and over again at the cons?
There are some. From the very beginning, one of the first fans I ever met was a woman named Rosie, and I still see her. I don't know. She's around. Mm-hmm. Like she's big, but a lot of the fans that I see again and again are ones that have charities that are attached to the Browncoats, which is a Firefly themed, they're these groups, because we were called the Browncoats, and they raise money for charity. And they even let me pick the charity, and then they raise hey, we raised $5,000. And
wow.
I mean, it's so amazing. And to get to make a comedy, and Mindy Sterling's character, I have to say, she's my favorite character to write because she can do anything. She plays my manager. She's somebody who was formerly a sci-fi actor who has now become a manager, which there are several of those you'll find in the convention world. And but she still wants to act, and she's always trying to steal auditions from me. And she has that thing where she goes on about, I'm an actress. I've been in theater and motion pictures, commercials, on cruises, infomercials, and snuff films. You've been in snuff films? We botched the ending. So she was supposed to be the one that was killed, but she survived it. And then, so it's a fun role for me to play because there's all these insane characters that are around me. So Ray is constantly under siege. So it's that. And then in the second season, when we had the musical, we got to do a musical with Lou Ferrigno, doing Of Mice and Men, the musical. I'm with Stupid.
What I love about the show is it has this quality that it's half satire and half surreal, and you're just kind of moving between just kind of complete insanity and sight gags, and then real satire.
Thank you.
But I was wondering,
totally what it is.
Well, good. It came through.
Wow.
But my question is,
Yes.
as the creator of this show, has it been therapeutic for you to do this?
Yes. Probably. I mean, in the sense that, those weren't demons I had to get out. My character differs from me in that he doesn't like the crowds. He wants fans. He wants to be famous. He wants a career, and he has one. He just doesn't appreciate it. He wants a different career. Nathan Fillion's character is a huge Matt Damon level star, not Ben Affleck. He's Matt Damon, so he's up there. And I see his career and really want that. Ray does. So in that way, I'm not the same. I'm not excising those demons. But making things that make people laugh, oh my God, it's so much fun. And being able to know that I see something in life, you're like, oh, that would be really funny if you put it in a show, or if you wrote a scene like that. Like the voiceover one with Milo Ventimiglia and Nolan North, and Gina Torres, where there was a video game. I did a video game with Nathan Fillion where we both did it in different cities and came back together. I was like, what was it like doing that? Halo. And he's like, dude, it's so cool. It's like, follow me, and this way, and we got him on the run. And all of my things were, ow, that hurts. They're using real bullets. I got a plan, let's hide. So if you play Halo 3, the guy who's saying all that stuff, that's me. He's upset. He's always... And so to play the guy who is that, who wants to be the other guy who says those things, is really fun. Yeah. And then to get to work with actors like Milo and everybody who's in the show that I want to work with, it's so cool. Yeah. It's so cool.
Where did you get your your comedy beats from? How did you kind of...
Right. I did theater. I started out in theater. And I worked on new comedies really when I was younger. And so when you do a new comedy, it's being rewritten all the time. And then you do it in front of an audience. And the writer will be like, you go out there and the thing fails entirely. Some bit will fail. I remember I was doing a doorman and this guy comes up and he's, I'm missing a thumb and I've got no eye and a lathe accident. I'm sure all of that isn't necessary for this story. Anyway, the joke fails. And he's like, oh, that didn't work. It was terrible. It was an awful feeling. We'll do it again. Do it again in the matinee. Tomorrow, so you do it in the matinee. Still fails. Do it tonight. Still fails. Okay, and they rewrite the joke. And then the joke will be, instead of the guy coming up from this side, he comes up from this side. And instead of the clipboard in your hand, the clipboard is now on the ground. And he hands you the clip. And so he'll rewrite the joke. Still the same joke, but it's twisted around a little bit. Maybe he gets the punchline and not you. And so I learned so much doing those comedies with amazing writers and amazing directors. And I got to work with some of the best. I got to work with Eric Idle in Spamalot.
Oh, wow.
And Mike Nichols directed that, and work with him. And I think you're going to learn something with those guys. Just doing their work, you start to feel it. But if you're in front of a live studio audience, they'll tell you if it's not right or if it is right. Just feeling those laughs. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. So what was it like creating the Of Mice and Men musical starring Lou Ferrigno?
That was great. We wrote a musical that's like 5 songs, and Lou Ferrigno came to me with the idea of doing Of Mice and Men together at a con. He's like, amazing. We should work together. We'd always say that. That was like our relationship. We'd see each other and go, we need to work together, we need to work together, we need to... And then he said one day, let's do Of Mice and Men. I was like, oh my God, that's brilliant. No. But I have an idea. Next year I'm going to call you about this. And for when we did season 2, and told him, and he was so into it. Because in the beginning, his character wants to play Lenny. Mm-hmm. So yeah. I'm George. Yeah. The man who's the size of a bear. Mm-hmm. 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 And it's called I'm With Stupid. And we had, turn around and bang, and it's all like turn around and bang, things aren't great. Then turn around and bang, things are going to be good. And then turn around at the end, bang, we shoot him in the head, which I thought was so much fun. Not because of nothing personal against Lou, but a comedy that goes that dark is pretty great. Yeah.
How did you get the idea to fight a lost Hemsworth brother to the death? Have you had any interactions with the Hemsworths?
No, I haven't. I haven't met a single Hemsworth. Oh, that's not true. I have met a Hemsworth. The main one.
Thor? Chris.
We're very close. Chris, very nice. There's 3 of them. Mm-hmm. And when I heard of the 3rd one, I then just took it one step further. There were an enormous amount of Hemsworths. And that, there's a thing that people like actors now, they're like, Australians get all the jobs, and English people get all the, English actors get all the jobs. But I thought it'd be funny if the Hemsworths get all the jobs. Yes. So there's all these different ones, Farnsworth, Hemsworth, and Huck, and then Girth. Girth Hemsworth. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so that was the idea that we just came up with the Hemsworths as being the major threat to getting any role. They've got to go out to every Hemsworth first.
Yes,
and then if they say no, you got a shot.
Right. So I have a little game with you that we play at the Hollywood Reporter. It's
I like games.
First Best, Last Worst.
Dare. Oh, different game. Got it. Okay.
First acting job that made you think, I've made it. And it didn't have to be true.
Right. I would say, I read the stage directions in a reading where everybody just sat down and I read the stage directions, but it was at a Broadway theater in 1994, I think it was, doing The Rainmaker with Jimmy Smits and all these amazing actors, and I read, scene opens. Sun shines through the window. And I was like, I'm on Broadway. That's how it translated to me. So that would be it. I'd made it at that point. Nice. Hang it up. They gave me a $20 bill and Subway token. Back when you had tokens. What the hell?
Okay, so best story you have from a sci-fi convention.
I don't know. I've been asked this question so many times, and you'd think I would have an answer. But I really should have an answer. Oh, okay, you know what? I did a convention in Australia. Great conventions in Australia. Went to Perth. Carrie Fisher was there. And Carrie took a shine to me. And I sure took a shine to her. She was fantastic. She was a ballsy chick. I really liked her. And we had these vans. We were out at something. We were meeting fans, and she said, "Is Alan in that van? Get Alan in my van." And so I was in the van with her and David Hasselhoff.
Amazing.
Yes. They are, his ex-wife is now married to her half-brother or something. This is like some connection there. Also, the guy's name is Michael Knight somehow. Anyway, there was a lot of oddity. Wow. And she's like, "So, David, on the back of your pants it says back Hoff." And he's like, "Yes, Carrie, that's funny." He's like, it was a joke. It was for Australia's Got Talent, and I was on there. It was for the other judges. So it was for the other judges. And now it's for everybody else. She's just I really enjoyed it.
Beautiful.
She said, "One day we're going to look back on all of this, Alan, and we're going to laugh." It's like, where are we when we're looking back on all of this? Where do you see the two of us in this picture? Just so I know what to expect. It was beautiful. Fun.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Last time you were recognized in public?
Yesterday I went to a yoga class. Nobody recognized me there. Then I went to get frozen yogurt right after the yoga class. Because like, I'm healthy now. Let me get some ice cream, basically.
Yeah.
And the two guys who were working there, one guy said something to the other guy about, "Be cool, guy. Be cool, man. Don't ask him a bunch of questions." And he was like, "What are you talking about? Just shoot, dude. Quiet." So they didn't really say anything but that. And I gave him a $1 tip, and I felt like it was not enough.
Oh.
It was good though. I got like a chocolate and a coconut, and then put some almonds on there. So sort of like an almond joy thing going on.
That's a good combination. I always overdo it. I always do too many.
The brownie things and all of that. It's like Reese's.
Not the brownie, but just like too many different kinds of flavors. That's what I'm bad at.
I'll take tart and chocolate.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that's the, yeah.
So, worst audition experience?
God, there have to be terrible ones. There have been, because I've been doing this for a long time. I remember once, there was this was rough. It was a long time ago. I think it was for a play or something. And they said, "Tell us a joke. Just tell us a joke. Just any joke." And I had seen Red Fox tell a joke. Red Fox, if you don't know who Red Fox is, he was Sanford and Son. Anyway. And so I said, "I can't tell the joke unless I tell it like him." So I did this terrible Red Fox impression. Would you like to hear the joke?
Sure.
So I can show you. I'm already getting ready. So a woman goes to the doctor, and she says, Doctor, you gave me the wrong hormone pills." And the doctor says, "That doesn't sound right. How do you know?" And she says, "Look here, I got hair up all on my chest." And he says, "Oh my God, how far down does that go?" And she said, "All the way to my dick." And it was silence. Everybody didn't know if they could laugh. It was offensive. It was probably very offensive. So that happened.
And that was your SNL audition, huh?
I think it was for some regional play that I did not get. Did not get that job.
Probably for the better.
Yeah. Thank you. Next.
So I have a couple more questions before we wrap up.
Yes.
I do have to talk about K2SO.
Oh, yes.
So K2SO, as well as your other kind of motion capture triumphs or voiceover triumphs of late, how has that affected how you feel about your career or about yourself as an actor? Because Con Man talks so much about kind of like struggling to be something that you're not or what you wish you could be.
Right.
And now you have this success in this field, which, you know, you don't necessarily become recognizable, but
Right.
you certainly, I mean, you've worked with the legendary Frank Oz.
Yeah.
Like, where do you see your career now? Like, have you come to terms with this immense talent that you have?
Well, I'm coming to terms with it. I was recently recognized at a yogurt place.
That's true. That's true.
You know, Ray Nearly, the character from Con Man, and I really veer off early on, you know. I've been able to do so many things that I'm from Texas, and my parents aren't actors, and, you know, it was something that was kind of like, you want to do what? And got into Juilliard and put myself through Juilliard and all that stuff, and really have just kind of from off-Broadway up to Broadway and little roles in movies. And so, I don't know, Ray Nearly, he hit the dirt pretty fast. I think it might give people who are watching it questions, you know, like there's the character of the second best motion capture artist in the world, and who hates Andy Serkis. I don't hate Andy Serkis. I don't resent him for being the best motion capture artist. I don't know. It's been pretty cool. I mean, you know, Star Wars and all that. That's the cons. So when I go to cons, I'm just meeting a whole new group of fans. I can't, you know. Getting Firefly back in 2000 and it was like 2001, 2002 that we were cast. Changed my life. Changed my life, absolutely. And just unlike Ray Nearly, who goes to these cons and goes, "I'm not famous." If you ever want to feel like you're famous or that you've done something that makes a difference, I go to a con. You know, for me, it's something I'm very thankful for. And the show Comment is meant to be a Valentine to them, or a love letter, or whatever it is. You know, it's nothing lewd.
Yeah.
You know, it's just sort of, it's not like one of those selfie things when you're naked or anything.
No.
It's more like a florid.
It's a thank you.
It's like a thank you, but not like on a Post-it. It's like long, it's handwritten, but legibly. And maybe cologne.
Oh.
Not too, you don't want to go too far, but it is. And the cologne smears the ink just a little bit, just for character.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. So, yeah, it feels like I've just kind of gone like this. Although, Emmy nomination, that's a
big spike.
That is a big spike. I mean, I'm going to tell people about it a lot, so I'm going to try to get that spike going.
Yeah. Last question for you. Do you have any advice for the young cast of Game of Thrones on where they go after their season finale happens?
The young cast, like what?
Finale.
Like I can consider many
Yeah.
people young. Who, like, at what age are we talking?
I mean, I would say everybody who is younger than you were when Firefly happened for you.
Yeah. Well, you've got to. Nobody watches that show, so it's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough to make that transition into the cons.
I don't know. You just keep. I'd say go do stage. Go do a play. I've always thought that plays give you a chance to. You do the same performance again and again and again and again, and new ideas come every time you do it, and you find a new way through it. Especially if it's a successful play, and you do it for a really long time. So after playing a character for so long, it'll give you a chance just to sharpen those skills, I guess. I don't know. I'm sure they're going to be just fine.
Well, that's lovely. Thank you so much, Alan.
Cheers. Thank you.
Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you
and
too.
check out Con-Man on Comic-Con HQ and iTunes.
Oh, yeah, it's on iTunes and, yeah, Comic-Con HQ, which is what you just said.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.